Hey, out there in the crypto world, let's talk about what's going on this last week, what we can expect coming up in crypto news. Don't miss it. DeFi, IoT, Latin America. We're going to bring you some things that I think are important to know and a tip on where you might be able to buy something that just might be of interest to you. Don't go away. So, what's happening out there in the world of cryptocurrencies? We saw Bitcoin that's taken a little bit of a hit, got beaten up, and I kind of want to talk a little bit about that because, look, in this channel, there's so much out there that we could talk about. There really is. And when we go through, what are we going to talk about? We're trying to keep things pretty much basic on the basic line. There's a lot of YouTubers out there that are getting, they can bring you in and up to date on the more detailed, more extensive, broader, more sophisticated type of news. Our news channel is geared down to people like ourselves that are in this and people that are trying to get into this, and we're trying to help people get exposed to cryptocurrency. So our news channel is to those people who want to be exposed and understand better about cryptocurrencies and blockchain, and what that is and what that entails and how that can benefit them, and how passive income can come through that can benefit them to be self-reliant. And that's what we do here at DeFi IoT Latin America. So before I jump into it, please understand, we are not financial advisors. What we do is share with you what we learn and through our experience. If you want to do something along the same lines that we are doing, then please investigate it for yourself as well. We will do all of our homework, which we do because we have money in the game. Remember, here at DeFi IoT Latin America, what we focus on is not getting free miners or free different devices from other manufacturers to promote them. We buy our own, therefore we have our own blood in the game, and we do our own development, our own research, and then we share it with you. So if that can help you and you like that, then do us a favor. We're trying to hit at least 500 subscribers by the end of December. We started out just under 2 months ago, and we're about 100 off now. So do us a favor, subscribe, share our channel with others, mention us to those who want to know more about cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, because it is the future. And with the news I'm going to tell you today, I think it's going to call your attention. So give us a thumbs up, write us. What do you want to hear? If you're just coming into the crypto world, what do you want to know? So we can share with you what we're learning along those lines. Let's jump into this now. What's going on with cryptocurrencies? We jump into the first page.
Yes.
We're there, guys. I like to keep my team involved here. We're all working together, a team behind the scenes. We're going to do a video one day where we're going to have cameras set up now. We're going to set up differently. I kind of like how Steven Crowder does his. We're going to do something along those lines. It's a good example for us. Bitcoin, down to 56,000. What's going on Bitcoin? Well, here's what my concern is. We said a few weeks back when Bitcoin was climbing, we actually took profits. I had people tell me, well, you're crazy. It's going to go to 100,000. I thought, well, it might. But with the SEC now legalizing ways that these financial institutions can get involved with Bitcoin in the U.S., and that opens a door for financial institutions. We know that financial institutions are only using Bitcoin while Bitcoin exists, and that they really don't care about Bitcoin per se in the aspect of the currency that they're going to do day-to-day business on, because they're going to rely on the banking system to provide either the dollar or a type of a digital currency. It'd be a digital dollar, as the Fidel report mentioned a few months back, that the U.S. is planning and looking at trying to develop a digital dollar in the next 3 to 5 years, which means we won't have a paper dollar anymore or coins. And it's funny because you go to stores like in Walmart in California, when I was out in the U.S. just recently, and many times I couldn't use cash to pay at their automated checkouts. I had to go through and stand in line for a long time. It was like I was being punished because I wanted to pay with cash. I went to a football game from my old high school, and I couldn't get in the football game because they wanted me to pay with digital currencies. They wanted me to use Venmo or something of that nature. Their excuse is for their safety, but how many times they've been robbed, especially in this little town where I was at, is very minimal. They're conditioning these high school kids, or teenage kids, to already be ready to use digital wallets. Now, that's in competition with crypto or encrypted wallets. Very different. Remember that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that with the new Metaverse idea that's coming out right behind it. So we have to see the agenda that's there. Remember, here at DeFi IoT Latin America, what we try to do is bring out the truth of everything that's going on. You need to be exposed of why cryptocurrencies exist. Now, back to Bitcoin. Why is Bitcoin taking this huge correction? We said it probably would. And so far, we've been pretty good on what we've been thinking and what we've been doing. We took profits. And we even took some capital out of Bitcoin to reinvest in hardware. Not that we're taking away to spend it on expenses. We're reinvesting it to growth of the company. We're at that point right now where we've had 12 people working, 10, 11 solid. One's on vacation right now. But we're going to increase now by 3 persons going into January. So we're going to increase 3. Our plan is to increase more going into next year. So we took profits so we can increase with different hardwares via Helium or Planetwatch or other types of hardware devices that help us produce or mine cryptocurrencies, which we can live on 100% here at DeFi IoT Latin America. Now, Bitcoin, what's happened to Bitcoin? The financial institutions involved in Bitcoin are these big whales. Is kind of an individual investor, has a lot of money, right? I don't think it's necessarily whales moving it. Some said, well, it's Biden's infrastructure package because there's a lot of regulations going to come out on cryptocurrency and taxation and so forth, as well as the FATF, as we've talked about before, and other videos have come out with new regulations. They're, well, not regulations, they're asking countries to implement certain regulations. And that has happened to us. We got cut off with CEX.io. They completely cut us off. They want to know everything we've done from the past until now. Actually, what each miner is doing. And they're going to want to know where that person who we're mining from, that's coming from, which is something we can't do. So it's going to get to a point where on certain platforms, we're not going to be able to even function or operate because it's just impossible to do it if we maintain decentralized. Cryptocurrency was created to be a decentralized free market republic. And that's basically what it was about. That's why blockchain and Bitcoin this idea was created by Satoshi and others to implement Bitcoin. That's what Bitcoin has been, a hedge against the dollar. Now, some people look at Bitcoin as what's going to replace the dollar. That's going to be difficult because of its structure. Will it be a hedge? Can it replace gold? Well, right now it is. There's more movement towards Bitcoin right now than there actually is towards gold. And you have a lot more increase in Bitcoin. Now, a lot of people who don't like the risk of cryptocurrencies maintain investment in gold and silver. And I'm not saying that's not bad. The only downside is that's something very physical and something that can be tangible that can be taken from you as it did in the 1930s in the United States of America. Right? They came back and repoed all gold. In fact, if you didn't give up your gold, you faced hefty fines and even imprisonment. So can that happen again? Oh, very likely so, especially now with the way governments now are overreaching their powers in creating new laws to give them powers. It almost feels like we're living in a tyrannical world. And it's not just a country. This is a movement because of the COVID pandemic. They've allowed these countries to come together as these world organizations and be able to manipulate our lives and tell us what we can and cannot do, worse than it was prior to the actual outbreak of the pandemic. Now, understand that's true. This is not being fabricated. If you do your homework, you'll see it to be true. So what's happening? Let's look at the market here. Bitcoin's taking a dip. Well, why is it taking a dip? Well, I don't think it's because of Joe Biden's law. I don't think it's that because they already knew that was coming. They already knew it was going to pass. The SEC is now legalizing ways that cryptocurrencies, especially Bitcoin, can be traded on the New York Stock Exchange, and it's already happening. So they knew this was coming. These sell-offs are just big movements. They can control the market. They can bring it up real high, as we saw it going, and then they can sell off, take profits, and when it goes down low, they can buy again, and you're going to see these huge financial institutions that are only concerned about taking profits and not concerned about supporting the actual purpose of Bitcoin. And that is a reality we have to face. So it becomes more centralized when it becomes more controlled. And that's sad. So we don't like it when we see financial institutions coming in. We don't like it when we see governments allowing these big financial institutions to come in and move and trade and hold cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin because they can manipulate the markets as we're seeing right now. We here at DeFi IoT Latin America are saying that this market, the move in the market is nothing more than financial institutions and or whales taking profits. Drops, you'll see go up, drop, go up, drop. You're going to see that a lot with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Now, why is Ethereum holding strong? Ethereum's holding strong over the 4,000 mark. Let's take a look at this. Ethereum's back up at the 4,300 mark, a little better than that. You know, the leadership behind Ethereum are aligning themselves, unlike Bitcoin. Bitcoin remains this autonomous area where you can still remain and have your private property. It's yours. Where Ethereum is going to go off of actually going to go proof of staking, where they won't allow the mining anymore, right? So to keep it simple terms, proof of staking is basically like investing in the company and you get returns for it. You get rewarded for it. Well, there's going to be a lot of stipulation coming out on that too over this next year. However, they're going proof of staking instead of allowing the mining, which made it more decentralized Ethereum. And they're really aligning with, like, for example, in this new metaverse, and we'll get to that in a bit. The metaverse being what's coming out now with Zuckerman's Facebook, and we know that that is nothing of personal privacy. That Facebook is made, is like Amazon. They make a lot of their money, their income comes in selling people's information. So we need to worry about that. And remember this, that is digital, not crypto, not encrypted, though they're trying to use that and mix those two together and use to say, well, this is crypto, and will they do things on blockchain? Well, we'll go into more in depth, I think, next week or later on this week, and a special, we'll do a special metaverse reality check, because all we're hearing people out there, this is great, a lot of opportunities. Yeah, there are, but don't fall into the actual snare, the hook that's out there, the bait that's behind that hook, or the hook that's under that bait, right? So you got to be careful of the metaverses coming out. Now, that being said, the crypto market is down a little bit, not too bad. You're going to have corrections. You know that's going to happen in corrections. Really, we should see a bull market, I think, through the end of the year. That's normal. We are, you know, let's just jump in here real quick. We're still holding a lot. We are going to take profits. So like I said, we're actually still some capital because we're going to buy hardware. There will be, just FYI, some drops this week. Look, I can tell you where it's going to be. We search out to find them. And I get really tired of these guys on Telegram, especially down here in Latin America. There's some guys that are in some of these countries further south that all they do is surround and tell everybody where the drops are going to be. And what happens is, like with the rack, you had, all due respect to Voscoin, but Voscoin, you know, zip it. Because what you did was cause people with bots to go in there and buy up all those rack miners, leaving the rest of the people that you think you're helping, that you say you're helping, but really what you're doing is just supporting your YouTube channel, leaving them dry. Go on and look at all the complaints about the people who tried for an hour, hour and a half, like I did, like my other people and my staff did. We all tried, and we didn't get not one because the bots were there, because there are other people out there, and not just Voscoin. And I'm not bashing Voscoin. He does a lot of good things too, but he has a big push and a say in the crypto world. And we really wish that these YouTube channels, and there's others out there, that need to not announce these drops. Let people do the homework. You can say, hey, there's going to be a drop coming up. And let them do their own homework. Don't give them the link. You're allowing the people to already go in there who are lazier, that use bots anyway, to go in and actually steal and then go sell for double and triple the price on eBay. And that forces everybody to go buy on eBay. And it makes them wealthier. You get wealthy from a YouTube channel because you're not really into mining these. You only have one or two of these, and most of them you got for free from the actual distributor. So please, you know what? Zip it. I'll just tell you this much. There's going to be drops this week. Okay? Now you go do your homework where that drop's going to be at. I'm doing that because I want you to get a fair shot at it. I don't want the bot people to go out there and steal the opportunity from you. So there's our leads for you. There's going to be drops on helium miners. There's going to be drops on the Aware devices as well for Planetwatch, as well as other drops for Planetwatch. So there it is. Okay. Now, that being said, what are we looking at here? Polkadot corrected a little bit down to 35. XRP still holding around $1. Cardano, you know, that Cardano is one that Solano's around $2 again. Cardano is what I want to talk about. Then I'm going to jump into other things. So just for time purposes, Cardano, I know we're sitting, where are we right now? Cardano, $1.57. So we're down. Well, we're kind of in there. We're down some where we've been. What's going on with Cardano? I know personal friends of mine have said, hey, where do I want to get involved in crypto? Why should I buy it? And I say, look, I'm having a Cardano. We're still in Cardano. I actually would think that with Cardano's potential, they're still at a price that's buyable. And you're going to have to sit and wait and see what happens going in this next year. But I still feel Cardano is that horse that's waiting to pull out of the gate and will run up there with the pack. You know, there's some shenanigans going on between Ethereum and Cardano. We know that there's that rivalry there. And I know that the leadership behind Ethereum is doing all they can do to be the cryptocurrency of the world. And that's not being hidden. So they want to be that currency. Now, what maintains something that's virtual or digital is nothing more than personal and private information. So if once Ethereum goes to KYC and proof of staking, and they ask all your information, all your transactions will then be traced, that's now digital. It's not crypto anymore. I guess you can say, well, because it's on the blockchain. It's on the blockchain, it's crypto. Well, yes, that's the idea of it. But once it takes your information and you can find from point A to point Z everything about the information and ask you questions about your transactions, that is now digital. I'm sorry. It's no different because it's controlled. And that's the basic difference between encrypted and digital. Was one's not controlled. It has a smart contract that makes sure it gets done. And that's the whole idea of the witnessing, right? Of the mining and of the actual of helium, for example. They witness and the proof that's there. The ledgers. And so that's programmed. That can't be changed only by the community. When it's digital, or when it becomes digital, it's when it's controlled by a smaller group. And that smaller group can then manipulate and trace everything about each transaction. That becomes digital. Sorry, that's the way it is. Whether it's on blockchain or not, whether it's just over the internet, it becomes digital. You can argue with me all you want to, but that's the bottom line. That's the difference that cryptocurrencies were set up to avoid, was the digital aspect, the privacy issue. Right? So let's jump on here. We think Bitcoin can still be a hedge. Why? Here's why. Look, I want to talk about something here. Dollar Trade, the company Dollar Trade, it's like a dollar store, right? Everything had for $1. Well, they just announced that because of the value of the dollar not being as strong as it was, and that's because of the printing and so forth. And now apparently the U.S. has backed off in the printing, and you have this, to lower the inflation push. And that's also a reason some of the financial institutions have pulled out of Bitcoin. I feel that can also be an influence, as well as taking profits. But because of this, well, I want to show you what the inflation is going to do. Now, you have natural inflation. Then you have this inflation of the product supply. Now, look, here's the bottom line. Pre-COVID, you had a lot of, I'm just going to say, crude product. Goes to manufacturer, gets manufactured, goes to warehousing, gets shipped out, then goes to your retailers and gets sent to us, right? During COVID, what'd you have? You had a shutdown of everything. So very little is being moved. Crude product, also very little. We open back up the economies, and now the increase is even greater, especially in the technological and electronical areas, because now we're trying to do things more from home. You got the whole movement digital, and really crypto and the whole digital idea just took off because of the shutdowns, right? Because of the enclosures we had in our homes. We were stuck in our homes. What's happening now? Well, the demand is actually increased. Now we're going to Christmas, and we don't have people out there, because of restrictions from COVID, being able to actually produce the crude that then goes to the factories, to then get shipped to the actual retailers, right? That's not happening. And so that slowdown is coming. So therefore, a product supply chain issue is imminent. It's here already. And we're going to feel it even worse. And that's going to cause even more inflation. So this is why cryptocurrencies were created. And this is why we think and we feel going in cryptocurrencies is a good idea. Even with regulation coming out, we still feel that cryptocurrencies are going to be the move where a lot of financial institutions are going to go to, and a lot of individuals can go to create passive income, as well as build wealth. Because the inflation dollar is going to decrease in value. And there is a potential collapse of the dollar. We need to prepare for that. A collapse of economy is what the World Economic Forum needs and wants. Same with the world banks. They need that and want that so they can implement a digital currency. And you have the whole idea now being actually considered to be passed, to present as law, that the American people will receive $2,000 a month while the pandemic is in place. So understanding this, they're going to create people who are going to stay home. They're going to go to the Metaverse, which is our next segment we're going to go into as we lead to our summary here. They're going to go to the Metaverse. They're going to play video games. Over 500 video games are announced next year, 2022, to be on the Metaverse. Okay, what's the Metaverse? Well, Metaverse is this new idea. If you look at your WhatsApp application, I know a lot of Americans don't use that, but other people do. You got a WhatsApp application, you can go down below it, and it's got the logo of a Meta on there, right? Well, you look at Facebook, Meta, they changed. So they are now going to go into this digital world, this virtual digital world. That's in competition with smart contracts. A smart contract on a blockchain algorithm is encrypted, and that can remain private. But they are going to dominate and try to dominate this. The World Economic Forum also has a 3.0 web that they want to implement and surpass over into the internet market and control the internet. So you have Quantum and others that are out to protect that, those quantum computers that want to take our privacy and control the whole blockchain world. So that's the summary of it all. But is it good still to go in cryptocurrency? We feel yes, it is. Will Helium, will Planetwatch, will these others align more with the governments and begin to KYC as we go down the road? Well, Planetwatch started doing it. Helium, I suspect, will do it as well, because I think that, you know, Sean Henning, they learned their lesson with Napster. So they're going to conform to government and maintain. Man, the bottom line is they're in business and they want to keep their business alive. Blockchain was just a vehicle to help them get launched, and now they're launched. They won't have any problem, we don't feel, going back to just being a business. Now, will they pay in cryptocurrencies? Will you get paid? Yes. Will you have to pay taxes? Yes. Even in Ecuador, there was an announcement this week that now they're going to start charging taxes, and some of them are going to implement a more reliable taxation strategy on people who make over $2,000. So basically, what's happening is you're seeing these in India also is now going to try to outlaw crypto in many aspects. You got over 20,000 people that make a living off of crypto. Crypto, as you know, there was some news that came out, even that the black community was saying that the black community is discriminated against, etc. And I'm not going to go into that issue, because I think that there's some different qualifications, and I think sometimes those are blown out of proportion. However, it is an opportunity for anybody who is poorer or have less advantage. We'll say, I don't like to use that word either. We'll say poor, or we'll say the people that, an opportunity to exist, to rise up and become wealthy. How's that? I'm not going to go into why they're poor, because there are reasons behind that. Okay? I've been there. I've climbed out of it twice. So I know people can climb out of it. Did I come from a silver spoon family? No, they weren't bad off, but I didn't come from a silver spoon family, and I did things to destroy my life. I mean, I did some really stupid things in my past, and I've had to climb out of it on 2 occasions. So I know people can climb out of it. And cryptocurrency allows all of us that opportunity to climb out of it. And we're doing it right now. The same thing through cryptocurrencies. Everything we do, we're supporting cryptocurrency. So in summary now, this has gone on too long. We'll get into Metaverse a little bit later. Dollar Tree now goes from $1 to $1.25. Why? Inflation is real. And inflation is going to hit us hard. And it's more than just a natural inflation. It's 5% a year, which I feel is not a true report. There's a lot of forced inflation. When you start putting in minimum wage and obligating minimum wage, hey, there was my favorite Mexican restaurant in California, and I wanted to go there. And I couldn't even go and sit down because they couldn't afford to hire a waitress, even though I wanted to get one plate, and eat a plate with a drink, $20. It used to be only $6.99, and the drink was $1, and you could refill as many times as you wanted to. That was only a few years ago. So thank you to all these new regulations being taken in place. And we can go back 12 years ago. Thank you to that. We now have this inflation that is increasing. And that is what these world governments and the current administration want. They need a collapse so that we'll conform, just like we collapsed and conformed during this pandemic, if we will. Okay? Keep that in mind. So, Metaverse, we talked about that. There are some opportunities there, but be careful, they're digital. So we'll try to guide you through that. We're going to do a whole segment on Metaverse next week. This week, we're actually going to do our Thanksgiving Christmas celebration, because I was out of town. Let's go into this. So we're going to sum this up. Planetwatch. You know, there's some good news on Planetwatch. I've been, we're dabbling in Planetwatch. I won't say we're not. We're dabbling in Planetwatch's devices. But we don't really see a strong future. There's not a real strong roadmap and alliances like you see in helium, right? So we've invested in Planetwatch. We've sat back a little bit, still have concerns about going forward, but now starting to look at, you had this Borderless Capital comes in and invests $10 million in the Planetwatch project and then going green on the Algorand blockchain. So this whole green concept now is getting noticed, and Planetwatch has planned to have 20,000 devices out right now. Just to show you their growth, Planetwatch is only approved in they went like mainnet April of this year, 2021. And their coin is already strengthened to a point where you're pushing in upper 30s and 40s cents a token now. So you're seeing this huge growth. Devices, just a month ago, there were only 6,000 devices online. Now you have 20,000 devices online. I would say going into the first part of January, you're probably going to see 30,000 devices online easily around that area, and you're going to see that increase. They actually are paying out well. For how long that can happen with so many more devices going on, that's the question. Because there is a cap on their coin, their token. So where that's going to be, if they can increase in price value, as long as they have investors and buyers of that data, and that data remains private, which is a concern, right? Then I think that they'll have a future to them. We are moving forward with Planetwatch. It's one in our portfolio, but it's also one we have to keep an eye on and keep a concern on. What happened to a cash miner? Remember that a cash miner was that cloud miner? Remember that? What happened to it? Well, I've been looking for that too, and I think we're going to do a segment on what happened to a cash. They decided not to actually. They did about 300 of these miners, and people got in the waiting list to buy them, and we were one of them. But they're not going to issue as miners anymore. They're going to go a different strategy. I won't get into that deep right now, but those of you keep looking for a cash, don't look for it anymore. That's not going to come for a long time. They're going to do it a different way, and from my understanding, it's going to be on computers. We're going to do a segment on that too next week. We're focused just on what happened to a cache and what's a cache going to do. It interests me. It's a cloud miner. I mean, it's for cloud data. So it interests me in what a cache is going to do. So there's a little bit on a cache, right? That's a different way that you can make money passively at home, okay? So is Planetwatch. So is Helium. Those are different ways. And tomorrow we'll do our Helium news and tell you what's going on new in Helium. All right, so let's get down to our last two topics here. Deeper Network. Deeper Network is a DPN. This DPN, you connect it between your modem and your router. Well, actually, they have a new one now. It's called a PICO. And look, you can go on Kickstarter still now. It's gonna expire, it's my understanding, on the 1st. So you got just a few days. You can go on Kickstarter and you can order. There's an order on there for 10 PICOs. It's like $1,250. But what's not written on there, and what you can do, is you can order 10 PICOs. You actually pledge to buy those PICOs. And Deeper's a good DPN. I don't like the way that they mine. I don't like that because you have to stake a lot of money before you can actually get returns off it. So it's a really high risk compared to investing in helium mining or Planet and others in GPUs, etc. Well, GPUs are pretty expensive as well, but it's still even more expensive to mine on Deeper. Now you can get greater returns, but I actually want to see a better roadmap with Deeper as well before I'm going to park in $5,000, $6,000, or $10,000 with Deeper for 9 months just to get a return on that, a 10% return, basically $1,000 a month. I can get better 10% returns. I can get 20, 30, 40% returns on other devices right now. But I do like the DPN. I do like what it does. We have them functioning here in Latin America. We will connect them at all of our networks, the system that we're implementing, where we actually host. We have hosts that host a lot of this so we can share the wealth with other people in these poor economies. Now, there's been glitches on their payouts for those who are mining on Deeper. But I just want to let you know that they are aware of that, and those glitches are being worked out, and you will not lose your Deeper. Eric Ma has been on Twitter saying you won't lose your Deeper, that they'll recover that. You'll get that recovered. So don't panic on that. Planetwatch seem to also work out their glitches and the new Aware device going mainline, and people are getting their payments and their planets now between 20 to 23, I'm seeing each day, and their Planet tokens. All right. So last but not least, some sad news. There's been a death. Somebody who was maybe one of the best, I don't know, something, better said. They were one of the best crypto advisors, if you would, to his client, Mr. Gox. The hamster died. Sad day for the crypto world. Here at DeFi Attitude Latin America, if you like what we're bringing you, hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, write us. What else you want to know about? We're trying to keep it basic, but give you the whole gamut, how it affects you and why you should be investing or looking into in cryptocurrencies. Remember, we're not financial advisors. We're just telling you what we're doing and why we suggest it to our friends. So give us a thumbs up, write to us, subscribe to us, please, and let us know. We got to get that 500 by December 31st. See ya tomorrow.